Forms of Government, Chapter 1, Section 2. Okay, go ahead and push pause on this video and go back to your Google Slides and click this and listen to the podcast. Okay, when it comes to classifying governments, no two governments are exactly alike, but we are able to classify them based on three factors: who can participate in the governing process, the geographic distribution of governmental power within the state, and the relationship between the legislative and executive branches. So let's delve into these. So looking at who can participate. In a democracy, the government is conducted because the people say it can. The phrase government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Now, there are two types of democracies that we have. The first one is direct, and this would be like ancient Athens, where everybody helps make every single decision. And indirect, which is what we have now. We vote for people who represent us, and we don't go to Washington or to Tallahassee to vote on every decision. We have people that do that for us. Now, in a dictatorship, those who rule, they're not held responsible at all. You know, if you are a horrible ruler, nothing the people can do about it. And it is the oldest and most common form of government in history. And I know we tend to think of dictatorships as being like really horrible, but every monarchy is also a dictatorship as well. So we have an autocracy, and that's how you pronounce that word. It's not autocracy, it's autocracy. And that's one person holds all the power. And then we have an oligarchy, which is a small elite group that holds all the power. I would say that North Korea is more of an autocracy, whereas China is more of an oligarchy. Okay, so let's talk about the geographic distribution of power. When you have a unitary government, it's a centralized government, meaning that all the power of the country is done by a single central agency. They can create local governments for their own benefit. For example, in England, all the power is in London. That's, but they do have city governments that the national government creates to do things like manage the roads and the sewers and the schools and that kind of stuff. We have what's called a federal government in our country, which means that we have a Washington central power, but then each state also has its powers. And then we have the very rare form called a confederate government. When we say confederate in this country, we tend to think of the Confederacy, and that's a sort of okay example, but not great. And this is an alliance of independent states. When we first won the Revolutionary War in this country, we had a confederacy. Virginia was its own thing, Georgia was its own thing, Massachusetts was its own thing. And there's a central government, sort of, but it only handles the issues applied to it by the states. So the states give the central government the power. A modern example is the European Union, where each of those European countries are their own thing, but there is the head of the European Union. Okay, now let's look at the relationship between the legislative and executive branches. In a presidential government, the president is separate, independent, and co-equal of the legislative branches. Is chosen independently, holds office for a fixed term, and has set powers. America, classic example, especially as we're going through an election season right now. We vote for our president separately than we vote for from our legislators. In a parliamentary government, the executive is made up of the prime minister, prime meaning head, and the cabinet. Now, they are all members of parliament, and that's their legislative branch. And the leader is the leader of the majority party. And it remains in office only as long as their policies and administration have confidence of a majority of parliament. They can get rid of their prime minister anytime they want to. There is no set term for a prime minister. they can decide, the people can decide, like, we don't like you, or the parliament can decide, we don't like you, and vote them out of office, either by a vote of no confidence, or when they have parliamentary elections, if their party comes out of favor. Now, the benefit is it does help to avoid deadlocks, but it does lack checks and balances because the executive and the legislative are the same level. Okay, so go ahead and stop this video and go back to your presentation and go ahead and define these terms. Have a great day.